Hey guys, Evan Tan here. In this video, I'm going to talk about entering the worldwide market, alright? This will be the critical point where your business grows into the next level, alright? So at the start, you may want just, entering, US, the first tier countries like UK, Canada, Australia, but do take note that, there's so much business to be made in all the rest of the world, alright? So generally, once you have found some success in the first tier countries, you may want to start going into the second tier countries or some of the more developed nations as well, all right, especially in Europe and some countries in Asia. All right, so before you move into the worldwide market, you will always want to, very important step is to ensure your supplier is ready to ship worldwide with a variety of shipping methods other than ePacket, right? So why is that so? It's because ePacket doesn't ship worldwide, right? Certain countries, they don't support. So like Europe, and some of the countries in Asia, they don't support ePacket. So you have to ensure that your supplier is ready to, go into using other shipping methods at the lowest rate for you. For example, DHL e-commerce, Yodel, and so forth. Right? Some of them are really, really cheap and almost as good as ePacket. And most importantly, they also have tracking numbers. Okay. So once you are able to go into markets outside of the US, outside of the first tier countries, you may want to start thinking entering European market like Germany, Spain, France, the German speaking countries, the Spanish speaking countries, and many more. Right, a lot of them have a high buying power as well, and you'll be surprised by some of the performance of these countries as well. All right, some countries like Hong Kong, Singapore, they are really good as well. All right, okay. So another way, instead of just targeting those specific countries, the fastest way you can do is you do worldwide targeting. There's actually an option, when you type in the targeting area, when you type in worldwide, you can actually, there's one where you click it and it straight away targets the entire world, all right? So however, because you do not want to do that, right? So it's very important that you're able to exclude the first tier countries, right? Because I believe you have already targeted those first tier countries before, so you do not want this overlap of, retargeting the same countries again. So it's very important that, you exclude the first tier countries or existing countries that you've already targeted in separate campaigns. So worldwide campaign, exclude US, UK, and so forth for those who you have already used before, so you avoid the overlapping. All right. So also always exclude high fraud nations, right? So it depends on what you deem by high fraud, right? There are certain apps where you can use to reduce the high frauds, but a lot of these countries, a lot of their orders, even it skips or it manages to bypass your app or the Shopify's internal system of high fraud warning, then you need to actually really go ahead and exclude these countries. And for us, the highest fraud countries will be Indonesia and Vietnam. All right, some would say some of the South American countries and some of the African countries. If you do not want these, you can easily also exclude these continents from your targeting. Okay. And lastly, make sure you always exclude some of the unreachable continents or countries. For example, some of the really, really far nations like Argentina, some of the developing nations in Africa, like the middle part of Africa, and Faroe Islands. Some of them are reachable, but they require a really ridiculous amount of shipping time and shipping costs. And it's very, very easy, the time will allow the customer to, fight for a chargeback, or it's tougher with these countries, and higher fraud as well, high shipping times and high shipping costs. So you want to exclude all this. So make sure once you're ready, once you have set your foundation right with the first tier countries, then you should start planning to move into the worldwide market, which is really, really important. All right. Even though US market for us, is around 20 to 30%, I'm pretty sure it's around 20% of our entire revenue. The worldwide, everywhere else consists of 80%. So that gives you a rough idea of how much you're missing out if you're not entering the worldwide market. All right, so go ahead and start planning. If you haven't got your supplier ready, go ahead and prepare that, and just prepare some of your ad sets, create them ahead of time, and then get ready to enter the worldwide market and start making lots of money. All right, that's all for this video. I'll see you in the next one.